What we have developed in starting our process, last year they had roundtables with community members. We're going to be researching more into that as well, but we also need your help. We need you as community members, as junior league members, to give us ideas and your thoughts and what you want this league to be about moving forward. So we have a survey that we're going to pass out tonight, and as Carly said, if you can get it to us tonight, you can, where? At the front up here. Okay, so if you want to put it in that basket on your way out the door, you can do that. You can take it home with you and mail it back to the house and just put attention PRND, and we will make sure we pick those up. You can drop it by the office. Also in the Kahi'au, I'm learning. In the Kahi'au, there will be an electronic version of this. It's not going to match it exactly due to technology constraints, but it will be a good version of this. And also, I am not aware, are there email addresses for committee chairs where people can find them if they want to find PRND committee chair? Okay, so if you have an idea, or this sparks way more ideas than our paper allows, please just email us. We'd love to hear your ideas. You can come to a committee meeting and share an idea if you'd like to. Just let us know. I kind of just threw that out there, but I think it's a good idea, so I'm just going with it. But the basic thing is that we all need to put some critical thinking into questions and ideas such as, what do we want our identifier brand to be, externally to the community to be? And more importantly, as Leslie said, what do we want our members to feel like they're making a meaningful contribution while in the process of being trained? What do you want that meaningful contribution to be for yourself?
And you only have one shot at this. No,
But
I'm lying. I'm lying.
Yeah.
If you do this survey, and then next week you come up with another idea, please contact us. This is a work in progress.
Exactly. And I know PRND, sometimes it seems like it's not the fun thing to think about or do. We're not buying dresses. I wish we, that's fun. And it's really exciting to do some of the other things. But when you come across our article in the, how to say it again? Kahi'au, please read it. Please, even if you've seen it before, you're like, oh, I know what they're doing, please read it, because you might think of something else. We want to hear from you multiple times. So we're going to offer you a little nugget. You fill this out, and in between each general meeting, out of all the ones that we get filled out, if you want your name on it, you don't have to, but if you don't mind us knowing who you are, then put your name on it, and we're going to do a drawing at every general meeting for all the ones that we get in between the meetings. So what does that mean? You can enter every time. If you fill a new one out, not with the same information, you have to have something new on it. But I saw some cheaters up here earlier, so I had to. But if you want to fill a new one out because you came across a new idea, maybe you networked with somebody and you met a new community leader or whatever, once you see the survey, you'll kind of get more of an idea of what we're talking about. Please read the articles that we're going to put out, and thank you so much for helping us with our committee.
Awesome. And you only need to turn in the back page.
Oh, yeah.
The introduction kind of.
Oh, no, this is the whole.
Oh, that's the, okay.
They don't have the introduction. Okay. So I'm going to pass this out.
Hi, my name is Valerie McDougall. Last year I was on the last year the name of our committee was Legislative Affairs. It's also Public Affairs, okay? One of the things that drove me was that I wanted to be a bit more politically active and not just, take up a cause, and, I just wanted to see a voting issue or a Senate bill passed that had to do with that I could use as far as we made a difference in the community and change. This year, our goal is we would really like to do a Senate bill. And a Senate bill will represent the views of the junior league, of the climate of what you guys think is important also. We have a few issues in the past. We've always worked with women and children, of course. Last year, I wanted to update you also on some of the bills that had to do with childhood obesity have passed. I can't remember the number. Most of the bills that did not get pushed forward Carolyn will let you know about them. What we would like you to do is to tell us where the issues are that you would like to see Senate bills written, so that when we do go this year to our legislative breakfast, we have issues and people and face and a community behind us and the issues that we could present to our legislators. Normally, this committee only has one project a year. This year, we're really trying to expand, and I really want, the Senate bills to pass. I was speaking earlier with Kids in the Kitchen on what do they think about peanuts in the school system. Is it a strong enough issue to say we do a Senate bill that would say no peanut products in the public school system? Because there are children who are allergic, and they have to be there. It would make it easier for the health and the welfare of everyone if we make the education conducive, or the area conducive to people's education. I also want to say right quick, Valerie Schmidt, thank you. One of the first projects I ever worked on with Junior Lee was her story, my story. And the thing that I've taken from that was that there are times where you go out into these projects and you do things in the community, but you'll remember that face. You'll remember the face of the kid who would say something to you that lets you know that you reached them. And you always want to make one particular change, and I think, unfortunately, the change was with me instead of, I think I took more from it than the kid did, because Valerie, I like her name, because we have the same name, but she gave me the opportunity to make a difference. And then when I took some pamphlets out again for the Bella Project, and I was just so geeked out about, making a difference, that you get to engage with people. Thank you again. I never got a chance to say it, but thank you again. And that's one of the things that kind of fuels me here, is the faces and things like that. We have a guest that we wanted to speak on one of our, I want you to see the face, okay? We're a very small committee. Caroline and I, we have 2 other members that could not be here today, but we're small and we're not quite so daily, but.
Well, basically, we just, last year, we had a legislative breakfast, as a lot of you know, and we had certain topics of discussion that we were focusing on. Women and children, we had about 4 bills. 2 of them passed. The childhood obesity has become an act, and then also the bill that was surrounding the junior K program and early education for children. What has been deferred or put on hold are the sex trafficking bills that we were sponsoring. And so we're going to be addressing that. We're going to be seeing in the new legislative session where these things stand in committee, and we'll be asking for your feedback, and also looking at the other legislation that's coming before the House and the Senate and where we can have an impact. And taking it one step further, asking members to perhaps even stop by and visit, make a face-to-face visit with your legislature, with a House member or a Senate member. So we're going to try to take it a little bit further, but we really are asking for some feedback on what you, just like the previous committee that just spoke, what you are all interested in us focusing on as well. So we'll be sending out some information, some ideas, and asking for your feedback.
One of the things that we focused on again was children, and we have a wonderful guest. I'm such a groupie, of Jasmine in the Children's Justice Center. Earlier this summer, we got a chance to go by and look at the Children's Justice Center. We had a member 2 years ago that was actually an employee there, and I worked with her with Girl Fest and Pacific Alliance to Stop Slavery, and she had introduced me to, or had let me know about the Children's Justice Center, which is on the Poly, and they have their own house. But what happens is I got chicken skin finding out that when we went to visit, the Junior League had been crucial in the beginning and the formative years. So I wanted Jasmine to come up and talk about the Children's Justice Center for a second, so that you two can have a face to go with, whatever, when we're talking Children's Justice Center, when we're talking child abuse, sex trafficking, you will remember the faces. Jasmine?
Thank you for the opportunity to come. I'm just so impressed with everything I'm hearing tonight. Okay, I saw the Olympic theme. I have my judiciary ID, but I have a coin in here. It's silver and gold. That's the best I could do. It's table tennis. I guess. I want to talk about the Children's Justice Center. How many of you, I see people who I know, and so you might have been up to the center. Anybody been up to the center on Oahu in Oahu? Okay. So we are a program that's been around for about 24 years. We have 5 programs. The one that's in Honolulu is in Nu'uanu. When I came into this house, my feeling was this is what our center is like, this feeling of welcome. It's child friendly. It's a big old Victorian house. That was really a signature project of Junior League over 20 years ago. You and Honolulu Rotary created that center, built it out, and created it to be very child-friendly. What we do is we interview children when there's allegations of child abuse. It's only police-reported cases. We've seen for our centers over 30,000 children, so it's a very significant number of children. Children have to have language. The youngest child we've interviewed was 18 months. That was probably, I think it was a homicide case where they wanted the baby to identify the suspect. So we deal with primarily felonies. You know, I know it's a tough issue. I was trying to think while I was sitting here, this is so tough because you're talking about all these other things, but yet I think the impact and an opportunity that you can make. What was it like before you helped create this center? So 24 years ago, I'm dating myself, I was an investigator for CPS, and this did not exist. And so I would go out with the police, and I just thought about cases I've seen over the years. One 8-year-old girl, we went to see her at her home. Her father was a suspect in a sex assault. I'm sitting trying to interview this 8-year-old child. Father is sitting maybe a few feet away, and I'm telling this child to talk to me about her stepfather molesting her. And she talked to me a little bit, enough that the police said we're going to take her into custody, remove her from her home. So we went down to the main station at HP because we had no justice center. I'm interviewing this child with the uniform officer in a cell block. I was going to ask if anybody's been in there, but hopefully not. You haven't been in the cell block where they interrogate suspects about crimes. So the cell block is padded, it's really small, the little girl is crying. I say, do you have any tissue we can give her? No, because they don't want suspects to be comfortable, have tissue. It's really cold. And so that's just one example I can think of. So in 1986, the state legislature created the Children's Justice Center program. We opened Oahu in 1988, followed by the four centers across the state. And again, what we do is provide a child-friendly setting for kids to be interviewed about allegations of child abuse. In the beginning, it was only sexual abuse, but we expanded our statute in 2001 to say any child that's an alleged victim of abuse or that's a witness to crime. It's primarily felonies we deal with, so the most serious of crimes. So if it's a police reported case by any law enforcement, federal authorities, child welfare, they can call us and we will help them interview the child, record the interview. If the child goes into placement, some of the things that you did as Junior League Women years ago was like a Bella Project. Our huge attic was full of prom dresses, so kids wanted to go to prom, but they were in foster custody. They could go upstairs and get a prom dress. If they were going into care, they can get their clothing, their toiletries, their blanket. We still do that, but we do it with a 501c3 attached to all of our 5 centers. What difference has it made since the Justice Center has been open? I think about when you talk about faces of children, because I've seen so many hundreds of children come through our doors. But one case that I wanted to share with you about in terms of what a difference it makes is a couple of years ago, we got a call from the police. They were bringing 4 children to the center from probably ages 6 to 10. They had been very severely physically and sexually abused by their biological parents. So they had been placed in foster care and they had been adopted. And our hope is that when they get adopted, they have permanency and they have a good place to be. And generally they do. In this case, the kids were severely re-abused, sexually, physically, and neglected. So the police brought them to the center. I stayed that night. At that point, I was the Oahu director. I'm now the statewide director. And I was there to help supervise the kids. We do use volunteers. I couldn't bring in a volunteer because there were so many kids and so many police officers. They had arrested the parents. It was severe enough. They arrested both the mother and the father on the spot. Pretty unusual that you're going to do an outright arrest because of the injuries on the children. So when they came up, They were interviewed, I fed them, and those are all donations because with my judiciary budget, I cannot pay for food, clothing, all of that comes through donations to the 501c3. But I was feeding them, trying to get them clothing, because we knew parents were incarcerated, they weren't going to go anywhere. Then the female detective comes to me and she said, Jasmine, can you help me with this little boy? He was 8 or 10. And I said, okay. And she said, he wants to tell you, he needs help. And she says to this boy, you know, Auntie Jasmine's going to help you. And I thought, okay, I'm going to help him. What does he need? And he said, Auntie, my 2 dogs are in the house. Because when they arrested the parents, his two dogs, and he was crying, and so the police detective said that I was going to help him, and I said, I have to help this little boy. And he said, Auntie, help me get my dogs out of the house. And I work a lot with kids, but I've never tried to rescue dogs out of a house. So I thought, what am I going to do? And he said, you know, the police lady said, you're going to help me. And I thought, oh my gosh, I have to help him. And so I realized, calling everybody, I got a volunteer who hooked up with somebody. I called my vet who lives across the street and said, I got 2 dogs, and if the police will go in and take the dogs out, will you provide care for the dogs until the parents either get released or we can find alternate care. And so we got that going, and I thought that was my first request to not only help children, but help 2 dogs. And so I was feeling really good, and then towards the end of the night, this little boy came back to me, and he said, Auntie, can you help me do one more thing? And I said, okay. And he goes, do you have a car? And I said, yeah, I've got a car. And he goes, if you take me in your car, can you help me find my way home? And I said, but your parents are in jail. The police explained that the police have been incarcerated. I mean, parents have been incarcerated, so he wasn't going to be able to go home. And I didn't know if he understood that, so I was trying to explain to him when I was getting his bag and his blanket and all those. And he said, no, not those parents. I want to go home to my real parents because they didn't hurt us as bad as our new parents did. And I thought, you know, it was so hard, but yet what we try to do at the center is given trauma, we try to really minimize how much trauma they have. We try to say to them, I'm really sorry you can't go home. We're going to try to find you a safe place. We're going to get you whatever you need to get. And so one of the things, again, is all these donations. The prom just has occurred if the kids are in placement for a long period of